Christmas Island is a small but distinctive Australian territory in the Indian Ocean. It lies closer to Indonesia than to Australia. Fact 1. Discovered on Christmas Day, 1643. Captain William Myners of the British East India Company was sailing the Indian Ocean in December 1643. On the 25th, Christmas Day, he spotted an island no European had recorded before. He named it, quite literally, Christmas Island. But someone beat him by 28 years. Myners was not the first European to see it. An English sailor named Richard Roe sighted the island in 1615, 28 years earlier, while aboard a ship called the Thomas. But he didn't name it, so Myners got the credit. Fact 2. The first landing blown off course. The first Europeans to actually set foot on Christmas Island arrived by accident. In 1688, the famous explorer William Dampier was trying to reach the Cocos Islands from Australia. His ship was blown 28 days off course in the wrong direction. 2 of his crewmen became the first Europeans to ever stand on Christmas Island, completely by chance. Fact 3. Island size, tiny but remarkable. Christmas Island is a small Australian territory in the Indian Ocean. It covers about 135 square kilometres, or 52 square miles, making it a compact island. It rises steeply from the sea to a central plateau, with Murray Hill reaching 361 metres above sea level. Close to the equator, the island has a tropical climate, warm temperatures year-round, and distinct wet and dry seasons. Fact 4. Christmas Island is just the tip of a giant underwater mountain. What you see above the ocean is only the beginning. Christmas Island is actually the flat summit of an ancient underwater volcano that rises nearly 4,500 meters, 14,760 feet, from the Indian Ocean floor. That's taller than 12 Empire State Buildings stacked one on top of another. Yet only 361 meters of this massive mountain rises above sea level. In other words, more than 90% of Christmas Island remains hidden beneath the ocean, making it a true geological giant concealed underwater. Fact 5. Closer to Indonesia than Australia. Even though Christmas Island is an Australian territory, it's actually much closer to Indonesia than to mainland Australia. The island lies just about 350 kilometers south of Java, Indonesia's most populous island. Meanwhile, the nearest point on the Australian mainland is more than 1,500 kilometers away. In fact, Christmas Island is closer to Jakarta than it is to Perth, making it one of Australia's most geographically isolated territories. Fact 6. No native human population, ever. Unlike nearly every inhabited place on Earth, Christmas Island has never had an indigenous population. Nobody was born here before the late 1800s. For millions of years, the only residents were crabs, birds, and trees. Fact 7. The island that had no permanent residents until 1888. Christmas Island remained untouched by permanent human settlement until 1888. Everything changed when rich phosphate deposits were discovered beneath its forests. Mining operations soon began, bringing workers from China, Malaysia, Singapore, and Europe to the island. Today, this once uninhabited island has become one of Australia's most culturally diverse communities, where Chinese, Malay, and European traditions blend together in everyday life. Fact 8. 63% of Christmas Island is a protected national park. Did you know that almost 63% of Christmas Island is designated as Christmas Island National Park? This expansive sanctuary safeguards one of the largest remaining areas of untouched primary tropical rainforest, much of which has remained unchanged for millions of years. The island boasts an abundance of unique plants and animals that cannot be found anywhere else on the planet. Due to its remarkable biodiversity, Christmas Island is frequently referred to as the Galapagos of the Indian Ocean. Fact 9. 50 million crabs, one island. Every year, between October and December, something happens on Christmas Island that happens nowhere else on Earth. An estimated 40 to 50 million red crabs emerge from the forest and march to the ocean. The ground pulses with them. Roads disappear under a moving red carpet. It is, quite simply, one of the greatest natural spectacles on the planet. Fact 10. The island that halts for crabby traffic. Imagine an island where millions of tiny crabs have the legal right of way. During the annual red crab migration, parts of Christmas Island come to a standstill. Roads are temporarily closed, traffic is diverted, and drivers must wait patiently as millions of crabs cross toward the ocean. How important is this migration? On Christmas Island, humans don't stop the crabs stop the humans. Fact 11. Special crab bridges and tunnels have been built. Most bridges are built for people and cars, but on Christmas Island, some are built just for crabs. To protect millions of migrating red crabs, the island has constructed special crab bridges, underground tunnels, and guiding fences. These unique structures safely lead the crabs across busy roads during their annual journey to the sea. It's one of the world's most extraordinary examples of humans designing infrastructure to protect wildlife. On Christmas Island, engineers didn't ask how to move the crabs. They asked how to let the crabs move safely. Fact 12. The red crab exists almost nowhere else on Earth. Meet the world's most famous island resident, the Christmas Island red crab. This remarkable species is found almost nowhere else on Earth, living naturally only on Christmas Island and the nearby Cocos, Keeling Islands. Scientists estimate there are 40 to 50 million of these bright red crabs, making them the undisputed rulers of the island. Their annual migration is one of the greatest wildlife spectacles on the planet. These tiny crabs may live on just 2 remote islands, but every year they create one of nature's biggest shows. Fact 13. 30,000 crabs for every human. The population of Christmas Island is about 1,700 people. The red crab population? About 50 million. That is roughly 30,000 crabs for every single human on the island. On Christmas Island, people may own the houses, but the crabs truly rule the island. Fact 14. Coconut crabs, the giant cousins. Think the red crab is impressive? Christmas Island has an even bigger crab, the coconut crab, the largest land-living crustacean on Earth. These extraordinary giants can weigh up to around 4 kilograms and have a leg span approaching 1 meter. Their powerful claws can crack open coconuts, and despite their enormous size, they can even climb trees. They may look like creatures from another planet, but these giants are very real, and Christmas Island is one of their important strongholds. Fact 15. The Christmas Island frigate bird. Christmas Island has a seabird found nowhere else on Earth, the magnificent Christmas Island frigate bird. With its enormous wings, forked tail, and distinctive black plumage, this bird spends much of its life soaring over the Indian Ocean. But here's the astonishing part. Christmas Island is its only known breeding ground anywhere in the world. Only around 1,200 breeding pairs remain, making this remarkable bird one of the island's most precious natural treasures. Frigate birds spend long periods flying over the ocean and are superbly adapted for soaring and gliding. Fact 16. The flying fox found nowhere else. Christmas Island isn't just home to millions of crabs, it also has its own flying fox. The Christmas Island flying fox, also known as the Christmas Island fruit bat, is found naturally nowhere else on Earth. With its broad wings and fox-like face, it flies through the island's rainforest, searching for fruit, flowers, and nectar. But this remarkable bat is also considered threatened, making the protection of Christmas Island's forests vital to its survival. On an island filled with extraordinary creatures, this flying fox has something no other bat has, a home found nowhere else on Earth. Fact 17. The Christmas Island hawk owl is found nowhere else. Christmas Island has its very own owl, and you won't find it anywhere else on Earth. The Christmas Island hawk owl is an endemic species that lives in the island's dense tropical forests. Unlike many owls, it can sometimes be active around dusk and during daylight hours. With its sharp eyes and distinctive call, this elusive predator plays an important role in the island's ecosystem. An entire owl species living naturally on just one tiny island. For most owls, the world is their territory. For this one, the entire world is just one island. Fact 18. The giant gecko found only on Christmas Island. Christmas Island has its own tiny reptile found nowhere else in the wild. The Christmas Island giant gecko, Certodactylus sadleri, is an endemic species that evolved in isolation on this remote island. It lives among the rainforest's rocks, trees, and leaf litter, hunting insects and other small prey. But this little reptile is extremely vulnerable. Its restricted home means that changes to the island's ecosystem can have a major impact on its survival. It may be small enough to fit in your hand, but its entire natural world is one tiny island. Fact 19. Invasive species caused native species to disappear. Christmas Island's isolation created a unique ecosystem, but it also made its wildlife extremely vulnerable to newcomers. After humans arrived, introduced species such as rats, feral cats, dogs, and the yellow crazy ant disrupted the island's natural balance. Some native species declined dramatically, while others disappeared completely. The most famous example is the Christmas Island pipistrelle, a tiny bat that was declared extinct in 2009. Today, conservation teams are working to protect the island's remaining unique wildlife from invasive species. Fact 20. Giant whale sharks visit Christmas Island. Christmas Island isn't just spectacular on land. The waters around it attract one of the world's biggest fish. Whale sharks visit the island's waters regularly, especially during periods when plankton and other food become abundant. Despite their enormous size, these gentle giants are harmless to humans, feeding mainly by filtering tiny organisms from the water. Swimming alongside a whale shark in the crystal-clear waters of Christmas Island is an unforgettable wildlife experience. On Christmas Island, the wildlife doesn't stop at the shoreline. The giants of the ocean come right to its doorstep. Fact 21. Christmas Island is a haven for rare seabirds. Look up at Christmas Island's towering cliffs, and you may see some of the Indian Ocean's most remarkable seabirds. These dramatic limestone cliffs and surrounding forests provide nesting habitat for rare seabirds, including the endemic Christmas Island frigatebird and the Abbott's booby. Abbott's booby is especially extraordinary. It breeds only on Christmas Island, making the island its last remaining breeding site anywhere on Earth. High above the ocean, these cliffs have become a vital sanctuary for birds found almost nowhere else. From the forest canopy to the edge of the cliffs, Christmas Island is a sanctuary for birds found almost nowhere else. Fact 22. Freshwater streams flow to the Indian Ocean. Hidden inside Christmas Island's rainforest is a beautiful freshwater system known as the Dales. Here, springs and streams flow through the ancient forest, creating small waterfalls and cascades before eventually reaching the Indian Ocean. This lush valley is one of the island's most spectacular natural landscapes, and there's a fascinating historical connection too. William Dampier's crew visited Christmas Island in 1688, making this part of the island part of its early European exploration story. On Christmas Island, rainwater begins its journey deep inside the rainforest and ends at the edge of one of the world's great oceans. Fact 23. An ancient volcano that fell silent millions of years ago. Christmas Island has a secret beneath its forests. It's the exposed top of an ancient volcanic seamount. The volcanic foundation formed tens of millions of years ago, deep beneath the Indian Ocean. Over geological time, the seamount rose and the island's limestone landscape developed above it. Today, there is no active volcano here. The volcanic activity ended millions of years ago. The mountain is still there, but its fire has been silent for an extraordinarily long time. Today you see a peaceful tropical paradise, but beneath the rainforest lies the silent remains of a volcano born millions of years ago. Fact 24. Bird poop made Christmas Island valuable. Here's one of the strangest stories in geography. Bird poop helped make Christmas Island valuable. For millions of years, seabirds nesting on the island left behind enormous quantities of guano. Over time, these deposits became rich in phosphate, a vital ingredient in agricultural fertilizer. In 1887, the potential value of Christmas Island's phosphate deposits was recognized, and Britain formally annexed the island in 1888. Soon, phosphate mining transformed this remote tropical island into an important source of fertilizer. For millions of years, seabirds were simply leaving droppings behind. Then humans discovered that those droppings had become a fortune in fertilizer. Fact 25. Christmas Island was once administered from Singapore. Here's a surprising chapter in Christmas Island's history. For decades, this Australian territory was administered from Singapore, not Australia. After Britain annexed the island in 1888, Christmas Island became part of the Strait Settlements and later the Crown Colony of Singapore. Even though the island is geographically much closer to Indonesia and far from mainland Australia, its colonial administration was connected to Singapore. Then, in 1958, sovereignty was transferred to Australia. Today, Christmas Island is an Australian external territory, but its history still carries a strong Southeast Asian connection. Fact 26. Christmas Island was invaded during World War II. Christmas Island was caught up in World War II because of two things: its strategic location and its valuable phosphate deposits. On March 31, 1942, around 850 Japanese troops landed and occupied the island. They took control of the phosphate industry and restarted mining. Fact 27. 1,700 people, a remarkably multicultural island. Only around 1,700 people live on Christmas Island. But their cultural heritage is remarkably diverse. The island has strong Chinese, Malay, Australian, and European communities, reflecting its history of migration, mining, and colonial administration. You can hear English, Mandarin, Cantonese, Malay, and Hokkien spoken across the island. On a tiny tropical territory in the Indian Ocean, people from very different cultural backgrounds have built a unique multicultural community. Christmas Island may be tiny, but its cultural story reaches far beyond its shores. Fact 28. 3 religions, 1 tiny island. Christmas Island is tiny, just about 135 square kilometers, but its cultural diversity is remarkable. Buddhism, Islam, and Christianity all have a strong presence here. In Poon San, you'll find an important Chinese Buddhist community, while Malay communities have strong Islamic traditions. Christianity, including Catholicism, is also part of island life. 3 major faith traditions, living side by side on one remote island with fewer than 2,000 residents. Fact 29. Christmas Island has its own internet domain. Did you know Christmas Island has its own internet domain? Its country code top-level domain is .cx. Just like India has .in and Australia has .au, websites associated with Christmas Island can use .cx. The domain was delegated in 1997, giving this tiny Australian territory its own digital identity on the global internet. So even an island with fewer than 2,000 residents has its own corner of cyberspace. Fact 30. Australian territory, but much closer to Asia. Christmas Island is an Australian territory, and you pay with Australian dollars. But geographically, it is far closer to Asia. The island lies just about 350 kilometers south of Java, Indonesia, while mainland Australia is more than 1,500 kilometers away. It also uses UTC+7, the same time offset as Western Indonesia. So politically Australian, but geographically much closer to Southeast Asia. Fact 31. The capital that feels like a village. Christmas Island has a capital, but don't expect a bustling city. The island's capital is Flying Fish Cove, commonly known as the settlement. It's a small coastal community surrounding a sheltered bay and the island's main port. The name Flying Fish Cove comes from the HMS Flying Fish, a British survey vessel that visited the island in the 1880s. Today, this tiny settlement serves as the administrative heart of an entire Australian territory. Christmas Island, a tiny island with an extraordinary story. A mysterious underwater mountain, 50 million red crabs, wildlife found almost nowhere else, phosphate, war, and a multicultural community of just around 1,700 people. And today, an Australian territory with its own digital identity. Discover 31 incredible facts about Christmas Island. Which incredible place should we explore next? Like, share, and subscribe to Country Quest Enigma.